Yes, hi all, and welcome to this presentation where I am going to present a brief overview over how we implemented a modern workspace by using modern devices in Agder Energi. We only have around 20 minutes, so we will not be able to deep dive into any details. But if you have any questions, please type it into the chat and I will try to answer it at the end of this session. So just a second, let me try to share my PowerPoint here. Yes, my name is Vidar Nalbant, and I am a senior ICT consultant working in Agder Energi, where I have been for the past 15 years. My key role in Agder Energi is to maintain and operate the data center, including PC clients. I have been working with PC clients and the rollouts, including operating systems and applications for over 20 years, and have been working with most of the ancient systems like System Management Server, Remote Installation Services, Windows Deployment Services, System Center Configuration Manager, to be able to configure, manage, and distribute applications to the PC clients. And if you never heard about any of these tools, do not worry, they are very ancient. But lately, for the past year, we have started to look into more modern tools like Intune and Autopilot. And that is what I am going to talk mainly about today. So the company I'm working for is Agder Energi, and that is a company located in the southern part of Norway. And our business is to produce, distribute, and operate all aspects of renewable energy, primarily based on hydropower. And our mission is to provide a clean energy for a sustainable society now and in the future. And our vision is to be one of the leading companies in the Norwegian renewable energy sector. So coming back to the main topic for this presentation. In Agder Energi, we have a strategy to renew our PC estate every 3 to 4 years. We also have a strategy to move as much load as possible to the cloud solutions to reduce the footprint on our on-premise solutions. So when the time was come to renew our PC estate, we wanted to try out the modern way to manage PCs. And the project started around January this year and ended in May before summer vacation. So what was the main drivers for this project? The main drivers was to replace around 800 PCs, both laptops and desktops. It should be a cost-effective solution and it should reduce all over cost. And another driver was also to implement a more modern workspace solution where cooperation, interactions, document sharing, etc. will be much easier and make people much more efficient in their daily tasks. So what was the solution here? Well, we ended up with a solution that includes Intune, Autopilot, Azure, Security Center, Office 365, Teams, OneDrive, Azure Information Protection, and many other services that is related to this from the Microsoft Cloud solution. And coming into what kind of requirements we had before we started this project, and some of them was about logistics, and we wanted to deploy the pieces with a minimal touch, keeping in mind the Corona situation we had and the fact that all employees was working from home. We needed a good solution to manage this without having too much hands on the deployment. We also wanted to deploy the pieces with minimal touch, and we also wanted our end users to have the unbox feeling, because there is no such pleasure as when you can get a new device or product and you can start unpacking it from scratch and knowing that nobody else has been touching your device. And this feeling is something which is very good to have for our end users. We also had some environmental requirements, like the packaging process, the shipment process, and also the actual production of the device itself. It should be according and in line to our requirements. And we also wanted the pieces to be shipped directly to the end user, if that is possible. In our case, we were able to ship them to our main locations, and they were picked up there from the end users. What was the solution we implemented? The solution we implemented was involving new pieces based on micro pieces. I'll come back to which pieces later. The pieces, they were purchased from our vendor, Excellence, and the project included that they would have the task to scan the pieces without unboxing, without opening the pieces. They will just scan the ID of the PC and import it into our Intune solution. That will be the device ID or hash, whatever it's called. And this will make the PC ready to be enrolled into our solution once the user logs in. And then the pieces were shipped to our main locations for unboxing, and the end user picked it up there. And once the user started up, it will automatically show you a welcome to Agder Energi screen. And once he logged in with his UPN, his username, and his password, then the PC would be enrolled into our Intune solution. And this means that the end user was able actually to start up the PC without having any help from help-to-self and without having to visit any Agder Energi location before they were able to start using the PC in our environment. So what about the PC hardware? We also had some requirements there. The PC is maybe the most important tool used in the day-to-day operations for most of our employees, and we wanted our users to have a powerful, modern, flexible PC that should suit desktop users as well as meeting heroes constantly on the move, and also good support for our field engineers working as road warriors on the fly all the time. So we ended up with offering two types of main models for our end users based on Microsoft Surface Pro 7, which is a kind of ultra portable combination of PC and pad. And the other one was the Microsoft Laptop 3, which is more kind of a traditional PC, but this is a very slim, light, and nice PC. They are both equipped with the 10th generation of i7 CPUs, so they are very powerful. They have touchscreen cameras supporting Face ID, and all the pieces they were provided with the Surface dockings for desktop usage. And all the Surface Pros were also equipped with a Surface Pen, so they could easily be doing notes and drawings in meetings, etc. So another requirement we also had is to reduce the custom images. We know that there is a lot of work with creating, maintaining, updating those images with drivers and updates. You have to regularly inject them, test them, and that's a horrible much of work. So we wanted to avoid having to operate at this level. So the solution here was to reuse the OEM image which was delivered with the PC itself. And we also used the Windows Update service within the Intune portal to be able to update the Windows installation. And keeping in mind that this is Microsoft PCs, all the needed drivers, including the docking, was receiving all these updates from this Microsoft Update platform. Another requirement we also had was to offer our users another way to authenticate than only the traditional password way. We wanted to explore usage of face recognition and logging in by PIN code. So the solution was to enabling Windows Hello for Business. And by combining this with Intune policies and compliance policies, we were able to force the end users to also register a 6-digit PIN code. And if they had a surface with support for face recognition, they could also log in with face recognition. And to make sure that this solution is secure enough, we also added the MFA multi-factor authentication requirement. So when they are logging into their PCs, they also need to authenticate by SMS on their cell phone or the authenticator app itself. So coming to security, we also have a high requirements in Agder Energi for the security. The traditional requirements we already had was not to be compromised, and we should, in addition, actually increase the security. So we were already using tools and devices like the user access control, the credential guard, app locker, device guard, labs for randomizing local admin passwords. And the user was not being a local admin. So the new requirements was more about enabling features like Defender ATP, log analytics for reporting, and not joining the pieces to the domain. And we also wanted to provide the end user with admin permissions, but this has to be done in a secure way. So we ended up with enabling the user as a local admin, but only if he use the UAC on the secure desktop. And another requirement we also had is about the flexibility and self-service. The users should be able to solve most of these common issues they have and needs without having to interact with the help desk and getting help from IT staff all the time. So we ended up with implementing something called SSPR, self-service password reset, which is a nice feature in Azure portal. We also enabled the recovery of the operating system, so the end users themselves could actually roll back the operating system to the state it was when the PC was delivered to them the first time. We also enabled company portal, which is a very nice portal where users can go in and find applications published by Agder Energi and install the applications they need themselves. And we also enabled the Windows Store for Business and also did an integration to the company portal. So we were also able to deploy modern applications located in the Windows Store through our company portal without having to do any repackaging of the applications. So this is a very nice, flexible way to deploy applications to our end users. And the UAC, as mentioned, gave the end users the ability to install applications they need themselves as well. And last, we also created the runbooks. We had the portal for tips and tricks to make sure that the end users had as much information and how to use the new PCs and the new solutions in a good way. And all of this was put into our desktop, into our service desk solution, which is called ServiceNow. So coming back to the requirements, we also wanted to have simplified management and overall cost savings. And keeping in mind that we did not choose the cheapest PC hardware, we have to look into the cost savings over a 3-year lifetime to make sure that we can calculate this project back. So most of the savings, they will come through management, security logging and response, self-service, and less wasted time, both for end users and also for our help desk teams. And this was all achieved by implementing all the requirements we mentioned above. So how did we actually do this? I would really like to show you all this in live, but unfortunately we don't have any time for doing this. So I will only be able to do it in PowerPoint and mention some more details around how we did that. So we started with creating autopilot profiles, which is a feature within the Intune. And we created different profiles for different purposes. We had the developer profile and we had a production profile and some test profiles. So, so depending on which user you are and which group you are a member of, you would get assigned the correct profile the first time you log in to a device which is onboarded into the Intune. And then we started to create Intune policies and creating device compliance policies. So PCs not compliant, they would not be able to access any company resources. So before they were able to access any company resources, they had to be compliant. So that means that you need to make sure that your PC is up to date, that you have the correct software installed, etc. But all of this was created and deployed automatically by using software deployment packages, which were published to groups. Some of the applications were assigned to groups, and that means that they will be mandatory installed on the PC when the user logs into the PC. And many other applications were only in available mode, and that means that the user can install the application if you want to through our company portal. And we also integrated the Windows Store for Business, as I mentioned. We created the Windows update policies for managing the feature updates and also the Windows updates, the monthly. And that is something we are we take it very seriously, the monthly patching. So we follow up the monthly patching and also the feature updates regularly to make sure that we are in a supported version of Windows at all times. We also did some basic customization of the desktop. We didn't want to do too much customization. We didn't want to give the user any feeling of that this PC has been tampered too much with. So we removed kind of simple applications like Outlook Express, which came along with the OEM edition, and removed some shortcuts regarding stuff which is not in use. We also deployed our Agder desktop folder, which is a folder full of shortcuts to make it easier for end users to find their resources they need and their portals. We also made sure that the entire Office 365 client package was installed on the PCs, along with Teams and OneDrive, and all of these products were configured with single sign-on. So once the user logged in the first time, he will automatically be logged into the Office 365 and the Teams and OneDrive, and the PC was ready to use at the first step. And another nice feature we also did was to enable the synchronization of your important folders from the old PC into the OneDrive. So when you logged into the OneDrive the first time, you were also retrieving all your old documents and desktop stuff from your old PC without having to do any configuration. Applications and settings were deployed to the end user once he logged in the first time he was onboarded. We also deployed a computer certificate to the PCs to make sure that they were able to connect to the on-premise resources by using the Global Protect VPN client, which is called Global Protect. And the same certificate is also used to make the PC able to connect to the corporate Wi-Fi instead of using the guest network. So to try to wrap up this presentation, I would say that there is no ultimate solution for everything. There will always be some pros and cons. But what we have seen so far is that this solution gives our end users lots of new tools, lots of new ways for cooperation, and access to documents has never been easier than now. And another nice feature is that building this entire solution did not require any infrastructure to be built, no applications to install, and everything was ready. You just enable the features, you enable the portals, and you enable the settings within the Azure and the Intune and the other portals which already are there. And you don't need to think about keeping those tools up to date as well. So are there any downsides here? Yes, of course there will be always. So one of the things we also have realized is that we in the first time we enabled all the tools, all the applications in Office 365. And that is really, really heavy stuff. So there are lots of tools there, and our end users can actually be lost in all of these tools and portals. So if we were to revise this project, we should maybe not enable all these features to start with, and maybe rather enable one by one instead of doing it our way. And if I were to give you some advice about the solution, if you are thinking about implementing it, I would definitely recommend it. But I would recommend you to invest as much time as you can in trying to automate as much as possible and streamline all application installation, desktop configuration, and whatever you can automate. This will give you much benefits now and also in the future. And make sure that you do your testing as good as possible, so the actual rollout is as effective as possible, and the onboarding process does not take too much time and without having too much errors. So by showing you this nice picture of Birkelandsfossen waterfall in Evin Hornes, I would like to wrap up this presentation. Hopefully this gave you some ideas and some inspiration of how you also can enable the modern workspace in your organization and take advantage of all the great stuff which is there. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.